as Congress and the White House negotiate the year-end deadline for renewing those Bush tax cuts, we started talking here at the office about another idea. Why not just give every American money? I'm talking cold, hard cash. That's right. Benjamins. And they can use it any way they like instead of giving more tax cuts to the rich. Wouldn't this work? Maybe it might even work better. All right, now Jane Hamsher is publisher of the blog FireDogLake.com, and it turns out they've written about this same exact concept. So we're not alone. We're not alone. Jane joins me now. Jane, tell me about this concept. How would it work and how much money would it be?
Well, great minds think alike, Cenk. John Walker, who writes for us, came up with the calculations. And he found that there are 315,000 families in the U.S. that make over $1 million a year. And there are 130 million taxpayers. So if you extend the Bush tax cuts for people who make over $1 million a year, you're going to put them about $100,000 in each one of their pockets. For the exact same price, for the same low price, you can put a $1,000 check into the pocket of every taxpayer. Hi, I'm Barack Obama, and I have a check for you. Make it really clear. This is what the Republicans want. They want to extend the Bush tax cuts and give $100,000 to millionaires, or you can have $1,000. What is it? What would you rather have?
But there's no way that wouldn't work. I mean, if he comes in with a check and says, all right, here's how I'm going to play. I'm either give you this $1,000 or I'm going to give a lot of money to the rich. What do you guys want? I mean, come on, really? Can the Obama White House really, with a straight face, say, oh, no, that would be a losing political cause?
Well, number one, what do your viewers think? Republican, Democrat, whatever you have. What do you think? What would you rather have? Would you rather have this tax break for millionaires on the theory that maybe they'll put some of it back into the economy and create more jobs? Didn't work for when George Bush did it, or we wouldn't have 10% unemployment. But moreover, the people, I heard John Harwood say, no, we don't have 60 votes in the Senate. There are 54 millionaires in the Senate. Over half of the people in the Senate are millionaires. And if they vote to give these tax breaks $100,000, they're putting money in their own pockets. And it's coming out of your pockets.
All right, Jane, I want to show you a chart here because this is amazing. It turns out if you're in the lower 20% of income, the tax breaks that they're talking about here, these tax cuts, would give you $45 back. All right, 45 bucks, okay, I can live with it. The middle class in this country get on average $880 back, okay? Now that's debatable as to whether, that should go towards a deficit, they should get it back, etc. But get a load of this. The top 0.1% on average get from the Bush tax cuts $339,473. Is there American people? Do they really want the top 0.1% to give over $300,000 apiece? Is that what Obama and the Democrats, and certainly all of the Republicans, that's what they're saying with a straight face?
When there's 10% unemployment, it's time for populism. It's time for unbridled populism. And a check for $1,000 is populism. Same price. It will have much more stimulative effect. Any economist would tell you so. Mark Zandi at Moody's put out a chart that said that the average stimulative effect of extending the Bush tax cuts for the wealthy is about 26 cents on the dollar. But actually giving direct money rebates to people would be about $1.26. So, it's better policy. It's better politics, and people in this country right now could really use it, and so could the businesses that they would go out and spend it on for Christmas gifts, for food. It's good politics, so I think that your idea is fabulous, Cenk.
Now, Jane, the Republicans don't say, hey, you know what, we want to give money to the rich, we want to give money to big business and to the big banks. Of course, they're a lot more savvy than that. And by the way, the so-called centrist or moderate Democrats, they're on the same page, right? And they don't say that. What they say is, no. We want to give money to the small businesses, and we want to give money to the job creators. And so if you give money, Jane, and your idea, my idea, to just average American, they're not going to create jobs. But the mega rich, they are so munificent, they will create jobs. How do you answer that charge?
Well, as I said, if that worked, it would have worked when George Bush was in office. It didn't. So, you know, you're in a situation right now where people can't pay their bills. Their homes are mortgages are underwater. They have tons of credit card debt. And do they really want to finance, as taxpayers, these cuts for the wealthy? Because they finance them. It's not like this money just disappears, right? You make budget cuts and then, oh, it's just gone, right? It has to come from somewhere. And that somewhere is ultimately a burden that's going to be borne by them. So do they want to do it to have money in their own pockets, or do they want to put money in the pockets of the wealthy? Really
Jane, you know, and I want to be clear on this, because look, your point about the multiplier effect is really good. You know, people, if middle class has the money, they spend it, and that circulates throughout the economy. If the upper class has it, they save a lot of it, so it doesn't circulate. It's not as good a multiplier. But it does create jobs. It creates jobs in China, India, and other developing countries. Because, you know, in the Bush years, for example, $1.9 trillion went outside of this country to create jobs in other countries, because it was, and I'm not even blaming them, because it might be smart to go set up a factory in China where the prices are lower, but it doesn't. I think what a lot of people miss is that it doesn't create jobs here, does it?
No. And, you know, I wouldn't say that this was the absolute best use of the money under any circumstances, but as long as we're going to give it to somebody, let's give it to the people who need it and who will do the economy the most good with it, rather than give it to people who are going to sit on it, put it in a painting, put it up on the wall. You know, if they were going to spend money going into, you know, putting it into the economy, they would have. It doesn't work. We know this. Those
paintings drive me crazy. One last question for you, Jane. Ironically, though, as you know, put up the check there, isn't this what George W. Bush did, though, when he sent out the checks to everybody? So isn't that, to say the least, a little ironic?
It is ironic, but you know what? It was, if you'd asked me then, would you rather have George Bush send a check to everybody for $500 or give a $100,000 tax break to millionaires? I would have said the same thing.
Well, you know, and maybe it's Hobson's choice. Maybe we should balance the budget instead. But apparently in Washington, that's crazy talk, unless, of course, you're cutting Social Security or Medicare, in which case, you know, they're on board for that. All right, Jane Hamsher from FireDogLake.com. Thank you as always.
Thanks, Cenk.